afternoon, Mr. Summers.
How are you?
I'm okay. I want to say first and foremost, thank you for taking this time to sit down with Seam Chicago and letting the entire city know who you are, what you do, and why your job here in the city of Chicago is so important to Chicagoans. And quite frankly, let's get to the nitty gritty, buddy.
All right.
Let's just get down to it. What attracted you to public service?
Yeah, it wasn't a lifelong dream to be a politician, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
But I've always known that I was going to be a public servant. And I got it honest, man. I grew up in a family. My grandfather was a guy named Sam Patch, who was the chief of staff, was the campaign manager for Harold Washington. Actually, this is him right here.
Okay.
That's him and Harold right there. He was an organizer in the 3rd Ward on the south side where I grew up.
Dorothy Tillman?
Yeah, right. I got to see what these guys who were like superheroes to me, man, Harold Washington, Sam Patch, and these guys, what they meant to our community.
Sure.
And it instilled in me a sense of purpose that whatever gifts God gave me, whatever talents, had to be used to help.
What are the most pressing matters as of February 3rd on your agenda?
Number one for us is leveraging the size, scale, scope, and assets of this city to benefit everybody and not just some of the members of our community.
The city.
Yeah, think about it. The city of Chicago, we employ 100,000 people. We have over $20 billion of revenue. I manage a $7 billion investment portfolio. We would be one of the 200 largest companies in the country if we were a company.
Sure.
How do you leverage an enterprise like that in a way that doesn't allow for certain segments of our population to have 50% unemployment? How do you leverage that so that everybody in every neighborhood has a path to participate in what's a world-class city? I think it's the greatest city in the world,
city, man.
right? But it's not open and available to everybody, and it's not being leveraged. So my number one priority simply is, how do you leverage all those assets, all that talent, all that size and scale to help the people that need it the most?
Mr. Summers, you just mentioned, quite frankly, that back in '83 we had a voter turnout of 80%.
Yeah.
And let's fast forward to today. Right now we got a 40% turnout. I'll ask you, sir, how do we engage those? How do we awaken that sleeping dog to whereas we can get 80% turnout from all communities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it starts with restoring credibility and faith in office holders. We have to set a better example, and we have to give people a reason to believe in that we're working for them. I tell people all the time when I talk to groups that I'm not confused, and I tell them I'm not confused about who I work for. I work for you. You live in Chicago, you're a resident here, you're a taxpayer here, you're a voter. I work for you.
Bring this bottom up.
Yeah, right. Most people have the same reaction. They're happy to hear that. And then you have to show them, your actions have to follow up those words.
Sure.
And so I think that the way that you wake the sleeping dog, the way that you inspire people to be more engaged, is you have to be credible. You have to deliver and touch people and help them see the work that you're doing and how it impacts them, and then ask them, how am I doing? What can I do differently? We started this, when I started in office, my first 77 days, I went to all 77 neighborhoods in the city of Chicago, one neighborhood a day.
Can I shake your hand?
Right.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
That's
well,
good stuff.
day 78, I took a nap, right? Because that was a lot. And I went out there and I had the same 3 questions to everybody. I said, look, what are the needs in this neighborhood? What are the challenges? But what are the opportunities? What can we work on together? Where can I invest? and then we just keep coming back and we do what we say we're going to do.
You own it.
That you have to, and honestly, we own it together. We have a shared responsibility. If you take one step, I'll take two, right? And I think that we need to do more and more in that. And the more that we do as elected officials and leaders in this city, the more people will engage, and the more they will care, and the more they will come out when it's time to have their voice be heard.
I love it, man. What makes you more qualified than your competitors to be effective in this office?
Yeah, I think I knew at age 16 that I wanted to be an investor. I wanted to be an investment banker. I spent the last, honestly, I spent the last.
8th grade, but go ahead.
Yeah, was it 8th grade? So, I mean, you hear me. I spent 20 years building my expertise, honing my craft,
Sure.
to be able to do this job, to be able to do it for the city I love. And I think there are plenty of other talented people that we have in the city, plenty of other folks who have a heart for public service. But I think that, spending 20 years preparing for this and doing it with an understanding of, kind of where I come from, and so many working class families around this city. Sure. And neighborhoods that need to see and feel and experience what it's like when one of their own, is in a position like this working for that. I think that that's unique, and I think that's different from anyone else sort of in these kind of roles. And I'm really proud of that. I'm proud to be a public school kid, in a job like this, and I'm proud that I left the investment industry to come do this for the city.
To the pay cut.
Yeah, it's a significant one, but let's not remind my wife of that. But yeah.
Oh well, I'll tell you what professional, and I got to use the word achievements.
Okay.
Can you draw upon to do the job if reelected for another term?
Yeah. Here's some things I think that I've been fortunate to learn in some past roles that are helping me now and will help me in the future. The first is I learned my first job out of college. I worked in consulting, and what I learned there was every 3 months we had a performance review.
Sure.
Not every 4 years. Every 3 months.
Sir, I get it.
Right? So the feedback was real time.
Of course.
And what I learned was the more you get and ask for feedback, the better you become. And I learned that, and I live that today. I try to get feedback every day. How are we doing? We bring together leaders from around Chicago here at City Hall on a quarterly basis, and we ask them, how are we doing? Yeah, and so I take that with me. I also, learned from I've had an opportunity to learn from some great leaders in this city, people like Pat Ryan and Tony Preckwinkle, Michael Sachs, and I got to see them firsthand, and every single one of them. Sure. One thing that I learned about them is they never asked anyone to do something they wouldn't do themselves, and they never were in a situation where they didn't understand the level of detail that they needed to be successful.
Sure.
So you can delegate, but you can't manage an operation as large as this office or as the city of Chicago without knowing what it means when you have guys out cruise on the streets. Exactly. You got to know that job as well as you know your own and what they're dealing with, and have an appreciation for it. And that's just, you only get that through hard work and paying attention to detail. And I learned that from each one of those leaders.
So I want to make sure I heard what you said. You said you know everything about the city of Chicago from an alpha to the omega.
Right.
And we're just going to put it in those terms.
Yeah, that's
okay,
fair.
Sir?
That's fair.
Well, I'll tell you what. Is there a specific issue that you think needs immediate attention here in that great city?
Yeah, I think issue number one, we touched on it a little bit, but I believe Chicago is the greatest city in the world. And we have the potential to be even better than we are.
Let the church say amen.
Right? We want to be this world-class city.
Sure.
And compete with any other city in the world. In order to do that, we can't leave any segment of our population behind. In order to be great, we're only as strong as our weakest link.
I love it, man.
And so, the number one issue that I think people here should focus on is how do we make sure that every kid, every neighborhood, every family has an opportunity to thrive in Chicago. And if that's the case, we're all going to win, and we're going to be a world-class city.
I'm just going to repeat what you said, if you don't mind.
Please.
We want to make sure every segment of our great city has representation and has a voice and has the ability to be served with respect to your office.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that's impressive, sir. Thank you. I mean,
Thank
the
you.
time has come for something like this. And what do you believe? I don't know. I'm getting a little animated here.
Okay.
Let me ask you, what do you believe, sir, makes a candidate electable? More importantly, re-electable?
Yeah. I think fundamentally, you've got to understand people. You got to understand what makes them tick, what they care about, and what's unique about you that connects to them and matters to them in the role that you're hoping to serve them in.
Sure.
So what that means is you got to know about yourself, and you got to know about people, and you have to connect the two. And remember that this is a job that's about service. This is public service. And
You get it.
yeah,
Thanks for getting it. Thanks for getting it.
I think we have plenty of people who get it. We've got good, hardworking folks who are public servants. Some folks get confused, but that's why we need more engagement.
Sure.
So that we have a level of accountability where that won't be allowed. The key for any person aspiring for public office is they know what's special inside of them that can be of unique service to other people. And they believe that, I tell people all the time, when people come to me and say, I want to run for office, I ask them a few questions. I say, what problem do you want to solve? What group of people do you want to help? And how are you doing that today? Because if you're not doing it today, no title, no role, no name on a ballot is going to change you helping people and you solving those problems. That's the core of what this job is, and that's what makes somebody electable. Because, none of the other stuff matters. You won a political battle here in Chicago, you got some great press, you said a great speech, that's all fantastic. How did you help people today? So day in, day out, those are the questions that we ask ourselves. And even when it comes to something as simple as getting information from us,
Sure.
we got to make it accessible so we're helping people.
Well, Treasurer Summers, first and foremost, I want to say thank you. I mean, for sitting down and sitting with Team Chicago. More importantly, thank you for the residents of the city of Chicago for bringing the passion and everything else you're bringing to this office. I see the sincerity. I hear it. I see it. And I wish you the best. And I thank God that we got somebody like yourself sitting here in the Treasurer's office at City Hall.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Anytime.
I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
All right.